Hey, what's up? It's Wes here, aka Seahawktopmist Prime. Welcome back to the Seahawks Times. Today I'm going to talk about where I think the Seattle Seahawks could go in the 2023-24 season. My channel started under a lot of controversy, as in my first video last year was just post the Seattle Seahawks 2022 draft, in which I thought we came away with just a king's ransom. And I was really early on this prediction, and this is not a clouding, kind of video. I'm not trying to say I'm some guru of football or I have a crystal ball, but last year I had the Seattle Seahawks going 9-8 and making the wild card very early. This was a few days after our draft last year. So many comments were like, "You're crazy, you're a homer." I am Seahawktopmist Prime, so I am very optimistic about the Seahawks. I usually am, more so than a lot of other people, a lot of other YouTubers, and that's okay. We all have our own opinions on the Seattle Seahawks and how the GM operates the team and how the team performs in different situations with regards to the roster. Now, before I get into my prediction for this season, I'm going to have a little bit of a foundation of why I think the team will likely improve and what I think the record will be at the end of the season. Again, if you can find another Seahawks YouTuber that had the Seahawks going 9-8 and could provide any sort of reasons, please let me know, because your boy Seahawktopmist Prime was that dude. Anyways, if you like the content here, make sure to like and subscribe. That really helps with the algorithm, etc., etc. Anyways, this season, the Seahawks had another great draft. I do not put it in the same level as last year's draft. It could be, we don't know. But just alone being able to find bookend tackles last season, to me, that was the most major thing. Let alone Walker, let alone Mafe, and yes, Woolen. Woolen, the most polarizing reason that I think the Seattle Seahawks found an A+ draft last year. I thought he would be really good, but nobody thought he could be the best right away. That was really, really crazy. And then there was, of course, Geno Smith, an enigma in its own. I will admit I was not on Geno's side in terms of him becoming a Pro Bowl level player right away. I was not anti-Geno Smith, and I'm so happy for Geno Smith. He's a great dude and a great leader, and he's going to be with the organization for a long time on other levels outside of playing QB. So his value extends beyond the field, especially in terms of character. Now, let's talk about character. Last year, we drafted exceptionally high character, high talent guys, and this year we've done the same, exceptionally high character, high talented guys. Devon Witherspoon. Witherspoon allows the Seattle Seahawks to play more man coverage, and that will help with the run. No, I do not think that Robert Cooper, Jonah Tavai, Cameron Young are the, God's answer, for lack of better words, to stopping the run right away out of the gate. But you cannot forget that we did get Draymond Jones. Jaron Reed is no slouch, and the younger players will improve on the D-line as well. And then we brought in Mike Morris and, Derek Hall. These types of guys are really good at stopping the run, but we do not have a star nose tackle, and that's what the whole Jalen Carter fiasco was about, that we had to do that. But does Jalen Carter immediately have more of an impact on the run defense than somebody like Devon Witherspoon? As somebody who analyzes football deeply, I beg to differ. You can no longer simply throw outside at Mike Jackson's side. I love Kobe Bryant, but with Jordan Love, when there's bigger players in the slot, you now limit some of that, and he has a higher tackling ability than, say, somebody like Kobe Bryant, who will get rotation and play on this team. But being able to go man outside when needed really allows the Seattle Seahawks to play 8 people in the box. Now, we do not depend on Jamal Adams' health. I understand that. But Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams, let's say hypothetically they're there. We don't know what Bush can do. Brooks is a good run tackler in a sense. That being able to crunch that box can limit big runs. And, we do not have to think about the whole NFL, right out of the gate and stopping the whole NFL in what they do specifically each team. But we do have to stop the Niners. If we're going to win the NFC West, we have to beat the San Francisco 49ers. And that's Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Mitchell. Those are the guys that are really polarizing and running the ball outside and inside. And I do think that if we can get some more talented tacklers along that front, we can stop the run better, and that's the team that we have to get some games on in order to win the NFC West. Now, the big chunk runs, specifically in the NFC divisional game there with Seattle and the Niners, we got beat up outside. They got outside the tackles, they got up behind Barton, and we were chasing them to the sideline. Now, when you have Witherspoon involved there, he's really good in run support, and Tariq can really come up in run support, and you provide that depth and dynamic ability of Bobby Wagner, Jamal Adams, Julian Love that allows Quandre to cheat up a little bit more. You can at least limit some of those deep TD runs. Those are the ones that really scarred us. Another notable run was Jacobs, that game. That was an interior run. So there is the cause for concern with the lack of addressing that, but you can't have it all. And what Seattle did was they addressed the best people available to improve the team, and that can accentuate some of your strengths to be able to limit some of the weaknesses. Now, out of, Cooper, Tavai, and Cameron Young, one of those guys is going to become a good player, I believe. And I think people are a little maybe lower on Cameron Young than maybe I am, and that's okay. But I'm really excited about Tavai. So I don't have Tavai as this year's Woolen necessarily, but I think if Tavai has a good camp, he can be a real presence inside. He has a great, not only PFF grade, but I've watched his tape, and he's really, really good and adept at being stout at the point of attack. And, Young is as well. So I do think we improve there anyways. So Devon Witherspoon, outside of that, contributes to alleviating much more or any of outside passing game, as this guy basically gives up no yards. And then you have Tariq Woolen on the other side, who is the best, I think, cornerback in the NFL. You can argue that if you want. The only other people that really compete, in my opinion, would be Sauce Gardner and what they're doing over there in Denver. So listen, now Jackson Smith and Njigba, it's the more I watch the tape on JSN, the more I just lose my freaking mind in excitement of what could happen. Shane Waldron with the Los Angeles Rams was able to utilize Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods with Todd Gurley early in that system and really just exploit teams. I don't think we have a running back as good as prime Gurley. Maybe we do in Kenneth Walker, maybe not in the catching ability, but adding Charbonnet, Kenny McIntosh, and DJ Dallas's depth makes us the best running back room in the NFL. Maybe we don't have the most talented running back in the NFL, but we have the best running back room in the NFL. What he was able to do, Shane Waldron, in that offense was get Cooper Kupp open with crossing routes. And, we don't have a slot receiver on that level. Tyler Lockett is an outside receiver. So adding JSN, that component, his mastery, his artistry of route running, gives Shane what he had when he was blooming the LA Rams offense into that high-powered offense. And I would have Geno Smith's playing ability at this stage a few notches above what Jared Goff was at that stage. And that should be life-threatening to defensive coordinators in the NFL. DK Metcalf, let alone, is a threat at all times. Now you can't guard everybody. You can simply not get a person on all of that talent in three wide receiver sets, or even when you're just giving guys a breather and those tight ends have not gone away. Noah Fant is good. Let's talk about Noah Fant real quick. Noah Fant was kept and not traded because Noah Fant is a good player, point blank, period. And I think as good, maybe not as high upside as a Mike Myers, etc. But there was no need to panic and find another wide receiver. Disley, no slouch. Parkinson, no slouch. So tight end room, I don't know if we have the best in the NFL, but it's one of the deepest in the NFL. Wide receiver room is the best in the NFL. Tackles, our outside tackles, at least at the top two, Cross and Lucas is the best two in the NFL, maybe not the best individual tackles in the NFL, but that's the best tackle room in the NFL. Special teams were top 5 in the NFL. Geno Smith was a top 10 quarterback. He was playing at an insane level, and I don't think he regresses necessarily at all. Offensive line took a drastic step forward this year. Oluwatimi, I'm excited about. I know Brandon has talked about this. Everybody's talking about Oluwatimi, award winner. How did he slip to that round? Seattle seizes the moment there, and I think he pushes Evan Brown right away, but there's no necessary need to. But I do think in the long term, Oluwatimi will be a great center, and Brown can play right, and he can battle it out with Bradford, and he can battle it out with Evan Brown at right if Oluwatimi wins in camp or earlier. So the offensive line is really, really good now, in my opinion, and really fits what the Seattle Seahawks are wanting to do on offense to not only protect Geno Smith's spring runs and win on third down with Charbonnet, and whoever else they want to field in that backfield. Kenny McIntosh, who can play slot receiver as well. This is looking really, really good. Now, In terms of the secondary as a whole, Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams getting older a little bit. Long term, I'm not sure if Jarek Jarek Reed is that guy, but I like his tape. I haven't seen enough. I'm excited to watch him in camp. He's one of the sneaky guys I'm really going to be watching in camp because I think they think really highly of him as a contingency plan for Quandre Diggs or Jamal Adams. Both of those guys are making like $18 million a season, and one is going to have to go after next season, if not sooner. I do not want that to happen necessarily. So I am excited that we have a loaded room now after Ryan Neal left. And I think that they're hoping Reed can be that Neal type of guy for depth, let alone what we see out of Julian Love. Now, we are going to be able to do a lot more offensively than we were last year, especially because the players are more seasoned. The O-line is more gelled. Geno is going to be more confident coming right out of the gate. We're going to see some components of the Waldron offense that a guy like Kupp could only unlock. Now, JSN, I believe, is going to do that. He is a different player than Cooper Kupp. He doesn't run exactly the same type of routes as Cooper Kupp, but his short area ability to get open, I do believe, is as significant as Cooper Kupp, and his yak ability is as significant as Cooper Kupp. I'm not saying he's going to get to the level of Cooper Kupp in consistency wise, but you do have to imagine, and to me, that was the pick that was the most polarizing this season, was Jackson Smith and Njigba. Whether you thought he should have gone sooner or later, it's exactly what I think the Seahawks need, and I have a sneaky feeling that he is going to break out right away and contribute to this team right away. Whether or not that is a statistical contribution of big yards and touchdowns, JSN is going to free up DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Noah Fant, Ken Walker. You're going to have to pull people away from the box, because if you don't, they are going to score touchdowns on you very consistently, very consistently. So you're going to have a balanced zone defense. If you want to play man against Seattle, have a good freaking time guarding all three of those guys. DK really coming into his own as a route runner, knowing his strengths, and it's going to be really tough. The defense still, to many pundits, is a question mark, and I think that is valid. That is okay to say that, because in games that we gave up over 150 yards, we lost all of those games, and that happened really consistently say that these guys that are brought into this team work out. You get more contribution from Mafe, you get a better year from Taylor, you get better run defense from the edges. All of a sudden, though, you win a couple more of those games that you maybe should have won, and then you're looking at more like an 11-win kind of season. In a nutshell, I'll get to my prediction on what the actual outcome of the season will be in the regular season record-wise, and I'll tell you right now, I have the Seattle Seahawks winning 13 games. Now, that is a crazy jump from 9 games. I understand. We have a tougher schedule. There's the natural, rookie kind of meltdown in the second year. I don't think these kids are those kind of guys, though, and that's they were drafted here. I believe the Seahawks have put themselves in a position where the culture is now established again. Whatever identity you want to define that as, like it was in the LOB years. They're underrating Jordan Love's edition. They're underrating Dre Jones' edition. I think many people are. We are underrating what year 2 Woolen could be like. This guy's only played cornerback for like 4 years of his life. We are underrating what Geno Smith was able to do last season. Are we not looking at that and really thinking about, if he improves, how much better this team could be? His contract is incentivized. He's betting on himself. The O-line getting drastically better. Geno Smith with more time, with all of those weapons, all of those receiver weapons now. To me, that's 2 more wins, right? So that's 11 wins. Now, what I think puts us to the 12, 13 wins is guys like Jamal Adams, Bobby Wagner, those vets. Those guys coming in, sneaky things happening, like Devon Bush actually being good, learning under Bobby Wagner. That defensive line, 1 or 2 of those picks, Mike Morris, Derek Hall, becoming really dynamic guys that can not only stop the run, cause turnovers, free up Boye Mafe, free up your Darrell Taylors. Who knows what Tyreek Smith is? We're going to have juice out of the gate. I got the Seahawks winning 13 games this year. They go 13-4. And I think that they sneak by a couple really talented teams to do that and upset them with their ability to run on the road, overcome injury. And they get to the NFC Championship game this season. That's what I think happens with the Seattle Seahawks. Do I think they win the NFC Championship game? I don't. I don't think we're on the level of the Eagles. I don't think that at all. But the Eagles, it's really tough to go through a season like that. And they did a great job of overcoming, and they had a lot of rest down the tail end of the year. Props to them. Really like that team. Really like how they built that franchise. Really like Jalen Hurts. I think the gambles on Jalen Carter, and it will work out well for them. Nolan Smith was a steal. Even if Carter's just a mid-level player, they had to replace Hargraves. But I think Seattle is right there in the conversation. So going into the season, I'm going to rank in the NFC. I'm going to have the Eagles up in front. And then I'm going to have the Niners in front of the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks at third going into the season. And then I'm going to have the Detroit Lions behind that. And the Lions could be better than us. If you're a Lions fan, shout outs to you. But I do have the Seattle Seahawks really taking the league by storm early, winning 13 games. And call it what you like. Tell me what you thought about the draft. Tell me what you thought about all those that were pro Carter. All those that thought that we got snaked by taking by the Colts taking Anthony Richardson, which I think they did. But I think that Snyder and Carroll made lemonade out of lemons. I saw somebody say that, and that is factual. This is going to be another very exciting year. I'm going to continue my post-draft analysis on the Seahawks for this season. Look forward to a lot of content for your boy Wes. Thanks for tuning in today. Let's continue this discussion in the comment sections. If you love the Seattle Seahawks, if you love NFL in general and you love your team, make sure to subscribe. Let's get your boy up over 2,000 subs. I think that's a little low for the level of content I provide here. Much love and peace, and go Hawks.